Hi, it's Patsy. So I've come on today to start the first of my videos on palmistry, where I'm going to be learning palmistry while talking to you, and if those who are interested themselves want to join in, then they can join in and learn with me. So I'm going to kind of put it into short little videos looking at different things. We're going to start with the hands. But there's quite a lot involved with the hands as well, because it's not just the general aspect of the hand, it's the size of the hand, the fingers, the thickness, and all different kinds of things. And the videos would just be way too long. So today I'm going to start with like the general aspect of the hand, and then in the next video I will then go on to different things about the hands, like the thickness and the fingers and that kind of thing. So today's first one is just going to be the general aspect of the hand, and we're going to start with which hand to read with, and there's a bit of a, depending on who you listen to, whether you read the right or the left hand, and the reason was why, etc. But both hands are important to read. It says the left hand here usually represents your private side, which is your hopes and your dreams. It shows all your hopes and your dreams and your private side, whereas the right hand represents how you present yourself to others and how you interact with others and the outside world on a daily basis. So both hands are important. So that's the first thing that it sort of talks about. Now it says if you're right hand dominant, so if you use your right hand because that's the more dominant one, then this indicates that you prefer practical and logical reasoning. You think things through and examine every detail before acting. You always follow the rules and never act out of turn. But on the negative side of that is you've got to be careful, as you may be tempted to relax your morals when you're pursuing a personal goal. Now, if you're left-hand dominant, it says if you're left-hand dominant, you're more creative and you favour more intuitive thinking. You act on gut feeling and are not afraid of failure or things going wrong, because you know that you're going to be learning from this. Now, on the negative side of the left-hand dominance is the worst thing you can do is lose faith in your ability to realise that your goals are, and to realise your goals and your objectives, because that is one of the worst things, losing the faith if you're left-hand. So we'll go on to the general aspects of the hand. So there's 4 basic shapes with the hands, and you can ascertain your overall shape by holding your hand in front of you and kind of getting a gauge of what the hand is. The more you do it, the more easier it will become. The first one is the first hand shape, but it's the conical hand, and that's a gently rounded shape, they say. And this shape is so cool because people with this type of hand are extremely visual and have a tendency to be artistic and visually based pursuits. They are sensual by nature. They want to see all the beauty in life, and they see life something to be enjoyed. They're very adventurous and pioneering, and that's the conical hand, or it's also known as the artistic hand. So then we've got the pointed hand. So the pointed hand is a narrow hand, and the middle finger is peaks a lot higher than the others. Now, if you've got this kind of hand, the pointed hand, it's also called the psychic hand, and individuals with this shape hand tend to have keen intuitive faculties and sixth sense, hence its name. Usually these people strive for perfection around them and within themselves too, but they can be very reserved and very imaginative. So that's the pointed hand. So the next one is the square hand, which is also known as the useful hand, and this is a square shape hand. So if you look at your hand and it looks very square, this shape belongs to individuals who need to be needed. They have a logical pattern to their thinking and usually have a good mechanical sense. They are often very busy physically, and they're very stable, practical and conservative. So if you've got a square hand. And then the last hand type is the spatulate or necessary hand. The palm widens from a narrow base, so it can be quite narrow here, but then widens out. These people get things done. They will do whatever is necessary to succeed, and persistent and bright enough to carry it off. They also hate to waste time. They're very independent and very intellectual. So that is the 4 basic hand shapes. So if you kind of look at your hand to kind of see which one it fits into, I think mine is, I'm not quite sure whether mine is the conical or the pointed hand, but it's probably more likely to be the pointed hand. That's probably more my shape. But yeah, so again, we'll go through that quickly. That's the pointed hand is a narrow hand with a middle finger, peaks a lot higher. And as you can see on mine, mine's a lot higher than the others. But then you've got the conical hand, which is a gently rounded shape. And then you've got the square hand, where your hand and fingers kind of make a square shape. And then you've got the spatulate, which the palm widens out from a narrow base. So that's the 4 hand shapes. And looking at that, I'd say mine is probably the pointed one. But they're the 4 ones. So then you've also got the proportions of the hand. So the difference in between the palm and the fingers can usually be seen with the naked eye, but if necessary, take a measuring tape out and measure them. So if your palm is longer than your fingers, so if your palm is a lot longer than your fingers, this indicates people who have difficulty in saying no to their whims, people of ideas and dreams who can conjure up great schemes but need to watch out for that, oh, I'll put that off until tomorrow syndrome. Very creative and maybe artists or musicians. So if your palm here is longer than your actual fingers, then that kind of indicates you as a person. If the palm is the same length as your fingers, these are very balanced individuals who find it relatively easy to cope with the highs and lows in life, and usually stable in character, both mentally and physically. They are determined individuals who have the ability to see things out to the end and have a very logical approach to life. They're very fortunate in that they suffer few health problems, mental or physical. So that is if your fingers and your palm are the same size. My palm is longer than my fingers, so I was the first one that I just mentioned. And then the last one is if your palm is shorter than your fingers. So if your palm is shorter than your fingers, these individuals will always use their gut intuition and guide them through life. They're very imaginative, spiritual and sensitive personalities. They have a delicate constitution and may suffer health problems. So again, that is the 3 different proportions of the hand. So we have the palm, which is longer than the fingers, and yeah, my palm is longer than my fingers. Then you have the palm is the same length as the fingers, and then the palm which is shorter than the fingers. So that is the 4 hand types and the 3 proportions of hand that we're going to look in today, and which hand to use and etc., like I said at the start. But it's very in-depth, and this is just kind of to start with, just filling this in on the basics. I need to write this all down into my notebook, and then my next one I'll come on, and the next part it goes on to is that your hand thickness and your finger shapes, and goes into more detail about the size of your hands, whether you've got very small hands, etc., average hands, large hands. And there's also a bit about elemental hands, so that each hand shape has got an element, element to it. So the pointed hand has got the water element, the square hand is earth, the conical is fire, and the spatula is air. But I'll go more into that with on the next video. But this one, I just wanted to kind of get the 4 hand types and the proportion of the hands. And next one, I'll do more about the finger shape, the thickness of the hands, and the size of your hands. We'll go into that. But that is the first one. I need to get this all written down. I hope you found some use in that, and I kind of made sense. But I will see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.